So we're studying the Manah-siksa, or Splendid Instructions to the Mind, by Raghunatha Goswami, with Bhaktivedanta Thakur's commentary. And the first verse was starting with having attachment. Attachment to the holy name, Gayatri Mantra, Guru, the holy Dham, the process of surrender. And then we also make an effort. We don't just depend on luck, and we're always giving up pride. Step 2, we don't identify with being either a dharmic or adharmic person. We're not motivating ourselves by I'm a very good person in this world or I'm a rebel. We motivate ourselves by being Krishna's agent. We see Guru as Krishna's friend and Mahaprabhu as Krishna. Verse 3, patient even life after life, following Sanatana, Rupa, and Swarup Damodar with the idea of awakening our relationship with Krishna. Then yesterday we went through the obstacles, which go from gross to subtle, from sound to action, to mind to heart. And the obstacles of sound are compared to a prostitute for ordinary talk, ordinary mundane talk, a tigress for talks of liberation. And these can both be destroyed with the jewel of loving service in the mood of Vrindavan. Verse 5 was the obstacles of action, which were compared to thieves on the road who had ropes made of wicked deeds around our neck, inducing us to do things that are against our own principles and our own values. We get free of that by asking help from the police force of the devotees of the killer of Baka, the demon of hypocrisy. Then verse 6, we looked at pride of the mind, which is compared to bathing in donkey urine. And this was, Bhaktivedanta gave so many specific examples of this kind of mental hypocrisy. The cure is to bathe in the ocean of love, which means to ask Krishna to show us our difficulty instead of looking with the mind, because the mind is the source of this problem. It will not give you the answer. Then Krishna will show you what the actual problem is. Then one has to choose to let go of the problem, which is hard because our mind will say to us, if you let go of this problem, so many terrible things will happen and it will be too hard. Then Krishna gives us whichever we choose. Then we looked at the pride of the heart, which is the desire for prestige and honor for being a devotee. And this is compared, the dead dog is compared to this pride, this honor, and the dancing unfaithful woman is compared to a desire for this honor, which we get rid of by serving the generals in Krishna's army. Okay, so now we're going to go on. So this last section of the Manah-siksa are the steps in perfection after getting rid of these obstacles. And this verse is the turning point in these splendid instructions to the mind. By the way, we've run out of the books that we brought here to Melbourne. So if you're interested in getting a book, if you go to Amazon, you can get our American printing, which is in 2 volumes, soft copy, instead of 1 hard copy. We also have a Kindle version on Amazon. So that's not available on the Australian Amazon. You have to get it from a European or North American Amazon. We also do have the book still available in India. If you look at my website on urmiladevidasi.org under publications, you'll see all of the places where you can get the book. They are available on all the Amazons as a Kindle book. If anybody, if there's still a big demand for the books here, and anybody would like to speak to me about getting the books in quantity, then I'll give you the name of our printer in India, and you can arrange a bulk order. Okay? So this is text 8. We can sing together. Yata dustatvam me davayati shasyapyapi kripaya mayam premamritamapi dadachujvalamashau yata shri gandharva Bhajana vidhaye prerayatimam Tata goste kakva giridharam iha tvam bhajamanaha. Even though I am a cheater, The Lord's mercy can drive away my inherent wicked nature, give me the glowing nectar of divine love, and inspire my heart with the process to worship Sri Gandharvika. Therefore, O mind, with pleading words, you should worship Sri Giridhari here in Vrindavan. So what is now gone? What's absent? He's not chastising the mind anymore, yes. What's gone from the devotee at this stage in the path? Pride. Right? So in verse 1, he says, Sadadam vanhitva, always give up pride. And now by verse 8, pride is gone. The devotee is saying, I'm a cheater. I have inherent wicked nature. There's no more, oh, I'm a great devotee swimming in the ocean of love, and I'm such a Paka Vaishnava. No, that's gone. I'm a wicked cheater. And you'll notice in the Sanskrit, yata, yata, yata. And the yata, tata is a very common construction in Sanskrit. So here the devotee is asking for 3 benedictions. So what is he asking for? What are the 3 benedictions the devotee is asking for here? So what's the first one? Mercy. Mercy to drive away wickedness, right? What is the second one? Glowing nectar, divine love. Which we'll talk about in a minute. This means the revelation of our eternal spiritual form. And the third one? Inspiration to do what? To worship Gandharvika, Radharani. Okay, and we're going to also over there in a minute. Okay, so let's go through these one at a time. So the first is asking for mercy to drive away our wickedness. Now, this prayer made in humility is very different from asking for mercy on the platform of pride. When we have a lot of pride, we ask for mercy because we want a shortcut. We think, I'm so great, I'm so qualified, I shouldn't have to make an endeavor and go through the whole process. I should get a shortcut. So we go to some sadhu, we go to a holy place, and we say, give me mercy dust, right? Quickly, give me mercy dust so then I can just jump. The person asking for mercy and humility is asking from the platform, as we discussed already, that I am the offender. If I am the offender, there's nothing I can do to force or compel the offended party to let me in. And again, if we think about when we are the offended party, I asked this the other day. Everyone here, you've had somebody offend you in your life? Yes? So if someone's offended us, can they force or compel us to restore the relationship? No. No matter what they do, even if they do everything we ask them to do, it's still an act of will on our part to open the door. Is that clear to everybody? Now, someone says, Some guy cheats on his wife 100 times, and he says, okay, I brought you the roses, I brought you the diamonds, I said I was sorry, let me back in. She has to want to let him back in. So in a similar way, the devotee realizes that no matter how faithfully we do sadhana, it's still a matter of Krishna's desire, Krishna's openness to let us in. Now you can say, well, of course Krishna wants to let us in. Yes, that's a fact. But this is an acknowledgement that it's really up to Krishna, that we can't buy our way back into our relationship. And that is a measure of humility. So as we were going through, we say, Lord, only you can plant a garden in my dirty heart. As we were going through these obstacles of speech, of mind, of body, of mind, and heart, we might have felt a little overwhelmed. Perhaps some of us felt a little overwhelmed yesterday and thought, wow, I really have an ocean of problems. So here we're all right by the ocean, the vastness of the ocean. And we may feel our problems, our pride, our difficulties are just as big as the ocean. Now in Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 2, the demigods tell us a secret about asking for mercy. That when we ask for mercy, something amazing happens to this ocean of problems. So is everybody ready? You ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Should we show that again? We have an ocean of problems, and with mercy, 1, 2, 3. Just a little puddle. It's a dirty puddle, but it's just a little puddle that you can walk over very easily. So the devotee is asking for mercy to take all of my difficulties, all of my faults, all the things I've tried so hard to fix, and I haven't been able to fix them on my own, no matter how hard I tried, and take that and shrink it into a little puddle. The second request is another metaphor. As you've noticed, this book is full of metaphors. Please give me glowing nectar to drink. Now, I noticed that this request is for something we take internally. The jewel of transcendental sound, the police officers on the shining path, the bathing in the ocean of love, the serving of the generals, devotee generals, were all somewhat external things. But here, drinking this glowing nectar is something internal. Bhaktivedanta Thakur writes about how Radha and Krishna are pouring nectar into the hearts of their devotees. And Bhaktivedanta explains this metaphor, and Srila Prabhupada also discusses this several places in his books, how the rays of the Ladini Shakti enter our heart and illuminate our heart with our eternal spiritual form and our eternal relationship. So way back in text 3, we might have had an intuitive grasp, might have had some intuitive idea, oh, I think I'd like to have Krishna as my friend or as my beloved or as my son. But here it becomes fully illuminated by the grace of the internal energy. And the third request is to have the inspiration to worship Srimati Radharani. So here's our painting for this verse. Please give me the inspiration to worship Gandharvika. This means we want to be firmly under the shelter of the internal energy. Now one could say that we are under the shelter of the internal energy even at the beginning of our Krishna consciousness, but this is asking for complete shelter. So we have these 3 requests. Given here in text 8, which is really the turning point in Sri Manah-siksa. And what were they again? The first request is for what? Mercy. To do what? To drive away wickedness. The second request, divine nectar, which means what? Revelation. Of what? Of our spiritual nature, our spiritual form and service. And the third one was? To be inspired, to worship, and take shelter of the internal energy. Okay, so in this commentary to this verse, Bhaktivedanta Thakur has some prayers, especially to Gandharva. He says, O Devi Gandharva, falling on the ground like a rod, I, an extremely distressed soul, beg you to please count me as one of your near and dear ones. O Devi Gandharva, when will I dress you in a cloud-colored sari? When will this servant be able to massage the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna? And Bhaktivinoda reminds us that we approach Srimati Radharani, we approach the Lord through their devotees. So at this point now in our Padati, the devotee has received these 3 benedictions. And so now once one has received these benedictions, what will one do? So Raghunatha Goswami is first going to write about what one should do internally, and then he's going to write about what one should do externally. And again, it's very nice that although in the Padati, these are occurring after one has crossed all the obstacles, still, everything that he writes about can also be done by the beginner. Just like even these 3 requests, which Raghunatha Goswami is making after having gone through the obstacles. We're singing every day in our morning program, even if we're just beginners in bhakti. Yes? Okay, so here he's going to talk about meditation. Marisha natatve vraja vipina chandram vrajavane Swarim tannatatve taratula sakidve tulalitam Vishakam shishali vitarana gurutve priyasaro Girindrau tat preksha lalitarati datve smadamanaha. O mind, meditate on Krishna, the moon of the Vrindavan forest, as the Lord of my leader Sri Radhika. Meditate on Sri Radhika as his most dear object of love. Meditate on Sri Lalita as her incomparable friend. Meditate on Sri Vishaka as the foremost guru, distributing the teachings of love. And meditate on Radhakund and Govardhan as givers of the sight and love of Shri Shri Radha Krishna. So this is our painting on this verse. This is Raghunatha Goswami's own meditation. By the way, if you're interested, we have prints of these available on radharani.com, which support our cleaning work at Radhakund and Govardhan. So here's Krishna as the moon of the Vrindavan forest. And Raghunatha Goswami is very much speaking to his own mind here about his own meditation after having realized his eternal spiritual form. So he's saying to meditate on Krishna as the moon of the Vrindavan forest, Radha his most dear object of love, Vishaka as the teacher, Lalita as the intimate friend, Radhakund and Govardhan. Now, if someone had awakened in the mood of being a cowherd boy, would this be their meditation? No. Instead of meditating on Radha Krishna, they'd probably meditate on Krishna Balaram. Right? And those in parental mood would probably not be meditating on Radhakund. So for those who actually in the Padati have come to this state of realizing their eternal nature, their meditation is going to be a little different. And they should take this as a template or a guide for their own meditation. Now at the same time, even beginners to Krishna consciousness meditate on Krishna along with their associates, right? Like we have Radha Vallabha here, we don't tell people, only look at the Gornitai altar, don't look at the middle altar. We distribute Krishna book, we distribute nectar of instruction, we distribute nectar devotion, we distribute Chaitanya Charitamrita. I used to be at the airports distributing Chaitanya Charitamrita onto Leela Volume 5. And I never asked anybody, excuse me, have you realized your Swarup? So we are asking even the beginners to meditate on Krishna along with his associates. But here he's saying to meditate on Krishna as the Lord of his leader, Srimati Radharani. So again, this is Raghunatha Goswami's own very particular mood. Raghunatha Goswami, in his form in Krishna Lila, is a gopi who's attached more to Radha than to Krishna. So some of the gopis are attached more to Radha, some more to Krishna, some equally to both. And this should not be imitated. The GBC has this guideline that we shouldn't be chanting Radharani's name without Krishna's name, right? Because if we're not self-realized and we do that, it's like we're Ravana trying to take Sita away from Ram. So someone like Raghunatha Goswami, he can say, well, I really like Radharani, and the only reason I like Krishna is because Radharani likes Krishna. So that's his particular mood. But we should understand that not even all the residents of the spiritual world feel like that. What to speak of one who hasn't realized their swarup. Then he says that he meditates on Radha as Krishna's most dear object of love. So Jayadev writes that Krishna is falling at the feet of Srimati Radharani. But he wasn't sure whether or not he should write that. Some of you may be familiar with this story, that Jayadev was writing. And he thought, I want to write that Krishna falls at Radharani's feet. And then he thought, oh, I don't know if that's really proper to write that. So I wanted to think about it for a while. So it was the middle of the day. He went to take his bath, and he came home. And he says, my dear wife Padmavati, I've come back from my bath. I'm ready for my meal. And she said, you already ate your meal. What do you mean I already ate my meal? I just came back from my bath. No, you already came back from your bath. And you ate, and I distributed the rest to the animals and the poor, and there's nothing left. It's all gone. What? I just got here. No, really. I already ate? Yeah, you already ate. Then what did I do? Well, you went in your room to write, like you always do after lunch. I did? Yeah. So he goes in his room, and he sees in fresh ink, in his book, Krishna is falling at the feet of Radharani. And then he can understand that Krishna had disguised himself to look like Jayadev, so he could write this in Jayadev's book. So this is actually Krishna's mood, not only with Srimati Radharani, of course, but with all of the devotees. The Lord tells Durvasa Muni, I am purified because I worship my devotees. So this is our Vaishnav understanding of God. So who can say this? What religious system is going to say that God himself will say, my means of purification is worshiping my devotees? Bhaktivedanta has wonderful, wonderful prayers that he quotes almost exclusively from Rupa Goswami in his commentary on this 9th verse. One of them he says, O Devi Radhika, this servant of yours has fallen immensely into the depths of various oceans of distresses. Through the amazing boat of your strong mercy, kindly rescue this servant and make this servant again attain the liberating shore of your lotus feet. Raghunatha Goswami meditates on Vishaka as the guru teaching the arts of love. Again, this is his particular relationship with Vishaka. Some of the Goswamis depict more Lalita as the guru, but Vishaka is also acting as a guru to Srimati Radharani. Of course, in the form of Ramananda Roy, Vishaka is acting as a guru to Lord Chaitanya, who's Krishna, who's in Radharani's mood. Now, Bhaktivedanta has many prayers to Vishaka in his commentary, but he has prayers to her in the form of the Yamuna. And he says, may Sri Yamuna Devi, the daughter of the lotus-friendly sun god, always purify me. She saves one from entering the abode of her brother Yamaraj, who punishes the sinful after death. So here's Surya with Yamuna and Yamaraj. And here's the beautiful Yamuna River. So what are some pastimes of the Yamuna? Anybody tell me a pastime of the Yamuna? Yes?
Kaliya.
With Kaliya, okay. Yes, right there. Which I think may be a little radical for a Western audience, I'm thinking.
The kids come in when you bring them in from the schools, and then they say, what's going on in there?
Yeah, I'm thinking that one, maybe you might want to take it out of the temple room. I thought about that one.
You can explain it because you see this the second time about it.
To explain it from there, because it's not a problem?
No, they go,
Oh, okay. Because I thought, whoa, maybe that one's a little heavy for the temple room. So Balaram pulling the Jamuna. Any other pastimes with the Yamuna? Huh? The Katyani Vrat, when Krishna took the gopis' clothes. Another one? Huh? Oh, when Vasudeva was carrying Krishna across the Yamuna, and Krishna fell into the Jamuna because she wanted to touch his lotus feet. What are some other pastimes? Yes? Sobhari Muni meditating in the Yamuna. Nobody said that yet when I asked. Any others? Oh, Nanda Maharaj got caught in the Yamuna when he went to take a bath, right? And the agents of Varuna captured him. Any other ones?
Krishna stealing the clothes of gopis.
Yes, she said that, the stealing of the gopis' clothes. There's a Leela with a boat, where the gopis get in Krishna's old boat to cross the Yamuna. Krishna says, don't get in my boat, and they do. Right? Of course, after Ras Leela, also Krishna and the gopis bathe in the Yamuna. What are some songs we sing that have something about Jamuna or Kalindi in them? Yes? Jai Radha Madhava. Okay, what else? Any others? Yes? Jai Radha Jai Krishna. Any other ones? Radha Krishna Pranamoi. Then Raghunatha Das Goswami says to meditate on Lalita as Radharani's confidential friend. So in the spiritual world, we have our friends, we have our family. Not that we just take this material family and go to the spiritual world with it like that, not like that. But we have our eternal family, Yad Bhavi Bhavi Tajiyo Manujasta Samprapya Rupa Mahima Sanayana Bhusha Suktarya Meva Nigamar Pratitai Stuvanti. We have our friends, our family, our home, our furniture. And Bhaktivedanta again quotes some prayers of Rupa Goswami to Lalita Devi. And one of them says how Lalita is very dear to Mother Yasoda. That Lalita Devi is extremely expert due to her excellent qualities, such as her dancing for the pleasure of the divine couple. Then Raghunatha Das Goswami says to meditate on Radhakund, which gives us the vision and love for the divine couple. Of course, after the disappearance from this world of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Raghunatha Das Goswami lived at Radhakund. His Samadhi is over here. And Raghunatha Das Goswami's Bhajan Kutir is over here. This is the stairs to Manasa Pavana Ghat. And back here is the Bhajan Kutir of Krishna Das Kaviraj. So here in the courtyard, Raghunatha Das Goswami and Krishna Das Kaviraj would meet every day for 3 or 4 hours to discuss the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. Raghunatha Das Goswami brought the diaries of Swarup Damodar. And this is where we get the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, and Anchu Lila. And he says to meditate on Govardhan, which also gives the sight and love of the divine couple. So everybody, of course, likes Govardhan. Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. So here we have in the 9th verse. So after revelation of our eternal form and the shelter of the divine energy, and our wickedness is driven away by mercy, then we meditate on Krishna and his associates, and pastime places. And again, I just want to emphasize that although this is a padati and it's going in order, that we're doing this at the very beginning of Krishna consciousness also. Right? I mean, remember, way back in verse 1, he talks about attachment to the holy places. So there's a beginning meditation, beginning attachment, and then there's a mature meditation. And this is one of the beauties of bhakti yoga. It's not exactly that we're going to do radically different things at the beginning and at the end, but we're going to do them in radically different ways. We're going to do them with a radically different consciousness. And those of you who were here for the first day of class, when we were talking about the internal and external paths of spontaneous devotion, on this internal path, one is continuing externally to do the same things as those in regulative devotion, but it's one's consciousness that's changing. So this is the real beauty of bhakti yoga in general, and it's also a special beauty of the internal path that's given to us specifically through this line of Srila Prabhupada and Bhaktisiddhanta's followers. Now, Raghunatha Goswami, as we already mentioned, was particularly attached to Srimati Radharani. So although he's meditating on Krishna, Radha, Vishaka, Lalita, Radhakund, and Govardhan, now he's going to have a verse specifically just on Srimati Radharani. Ratim Gori Lileya Pitapati Saundarya Kiranaya Shachi Lakshmi Satya Paribhavati Sobhagyavalanaim Vachiskaras Chandra Vali Mukhanavina Rajasati Shibhyatyaradyatam Haridayitaradham Bhajamanaha. O mind, offer your worship unto Sri Radhika, the beloved of Lord Hari. She outshines Rati, the wife of Kamadev, Gauri, the wife of Lord Shiva, and Lila, the potency of Lord Vishnu, by the effulgence of her beauty. She defeats Sachi, the wife of Indra, Lakshmi, and Satya, Krishna's wife, by the waves of her good fortune. She defeats the pride of the newly married gopis of Raja, headed by Chandravali, through her power to control Krishna. So Radha Krishna are really one in their identity. Our understanding of God is that he's complete. All male and female aspects. But for pastime purposes, they eternally separate themselves. And Krishna enjoys a bliss of his own potency, the pleasure potency of the Ladini potency. Whenever we talk about pleasing Krishna, we are talking about uniting Krishna with his pleasure energy. And not only does this Ladini potency please Krishna, but it's explained that she also nourishes his devotees. Krishnadas Kaviraj says she's identical with Lord Krishna. She embodies the mellows of love. She is his internal energy that gives Krishna pleasure and also nourishes all of his devotees. Bhaktivedanta has wonderful prayers to Srimati Radharani. Again, that Raghunatha Goswami is saying she defeats the pride of all the demigoddesses. Bhaktivedanta says she's the moonlight of bliss for the white lotuses. These are prayers from Rupa Goswami, that Bhaktivedanta quoting. He says, O Radhika, you are as fair as a fresh yellow color. You have garments as splendid as a blue lotus. You have braids decorated with jewels and flowers that look like a snake. So when Sanatana Goswami read this verse of his brother Rupa that said Radharani's braid was like a snake, he objected and he said, I don't think that's very nice. Shouldn't be calling Radharani's braid like a snake. Then Sanatana went to do his bhajan. So as he's doing his bhajan, there were some young girls talking some distance away. And all of a sudden he saw on the back of one of the girls, there was a snake crawling up her back. He said, my dear young girl, there's a snake, there's a snake. And she turned around, and as she turned around, she flipped her braid, and he could see it was actually her hair. Then they all started laughing, and then they just instantly vanished. And Sanatana Goswami went back to Rupa. He said, you're right, Radharani's braid is like a snake. Bhaktivinoda quotes a prayer that Radharani is very dear to her father, Vishnu, that she defeats the pride of the other gopis. Bhaktivinoda also has a nice prayer reminding us again and again to take shelter of the devotees. He said one should climb in the boat of the Sakhi's mercy and sail to the ocean of love, where you will find the lotus feet of the daughter of Rishabhanu. Can we have the lights? This is our painting for this verse. This particular Leela has never been illustrated before. This is Krishna's return to Ras Leela. And this painting was done exactly according to the verses in the Bhagavatam and the commentary of the Acharyas, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Jiva Goswami, Kavi Karnapur. And here you see the 8 principal gopis. This is not Radha and her Astasakis. These are the 8 chief gopis. So over here are your right-wing gopis, and over here are your left-wing gopis. And you see Srimati Radharani is a little angry that Krishna had left the Ras Leela. And as a left-wing gopi, she's standing to the side. Krishna has to come to her. She's not going to go to him. He's going to go to her. All right, so here we have a particular in verse 10. We have particularly on Radharani. So although Radharani is mentioned in verse 11, he's saying to meditate on Krishna, Radha, Lalita, Vishaka, Radhakund, and Govardhan. So then of all of those, he wants to focus on his supreme object of meditation, which is Srimati Radharani. So in perfection, we're not just going to be meditating on Krishna and his associates, we're going to do something. So this very last verse on the path is what one would do. And again, although these are the activities in perfection, they're activities that each of us should do even from the beginning of our Krishna consciousness. Saman Shri Rupena Smara Viva Sharadha Giri Britor Raje Sakshat Seva Labana Vidhayeta Gana Yujyo Tad Ijak Yadana Shravana Nati Panchamritam Idam Dayam Nitya Govardhanam Anudinam Tvam Bhajamanaha. O mind, you should every day drink the 5 nectars, worship, glories, meditation, listening to divine pastimes, and offering obeisances, and worship Govardhan according to the rules. In this way, follow the instructions of Sri Rupa and obtain the direct service of Sri Radha Giridhari, who are captivated by the God of amorous love in the company of their associates in virtue. So 5 nectars. Raghunatha Goswami is saying, by using this term, that we should drink these 5 nectars. Don't do these ritualistically. Don't do them mechanically. Do them as if you're drinking nectar. And anudinam, to do them every day. These are worship, glorification, meditation, hearing divine pastimes, offering obeisances. Worship, glorification, meditation, hearing divine pastimes, offering obeisances. Worship, glorification, meditation, hearing divine pastimes, offering obeisances. Worship, glorification, meditation, hearing divine pastimes, and offering obeisances. Worship, glorification, meditation, hearing divine pastimes, 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 and offering obeisances. In his song for this verse, Bhaktivedanta writes about each of these in relationship to Govardhan. So worship at Govardhan, glorification at Govardhan, meditation at Govardhan. Now in his commentary, Bhaktivedanta gives stages of meditation, referencing Jiva Goswami's Sandarbhas. Bhaktivedanta also gives stages of meditation in his Jaiva Dharma and his Harinam Chintamani. Where does Srila Prabhupada mention the 5 stages of meditation? Somebody other than Aniruddha. Because I know Aniruddha knows this, and I know why he knows it. Where does Srila Prabhupada mention the 5 stages of meditation? Nectar of Instruction, text what?
4.
All right, Aniruddha, tell us where it is.
Oh, I can't remember.
You can't remember.
It's
8.
it's about chanting Hare Krishna.
Yeah, it's about chanting Hare Krishna, yes. It's in text 8. So this is your next home fun assignment, is go home and read the Nectar of Instruction, text 8. All right? If you want to go into this more deeply, as I say, it's also in Harinam Chintamani, it's also in Jaiva Dharma, it's in Bhaktivedanta commentary here, it's by Jiva Goswami in the Sandarbhas, and the reference for the Sandarbhas you'll find in this commentary. So I'm going to go through the stages that's explained by Srila Prabhupada in the Nectar of Instruction, which is a little different than Bhaktivinoda Thakur's explanation here. It's related, but it's slightly different. And Prabhupada's quoting Bhaktisiddhanta there. He's giving 5 stages of meditation with 5 sub-stages for the 3rd stage. This is another way of understanding our progress in bhakti that's a little different from, say, Shraddha to Prema. Actually, I've identified so far 21 different ways one can understand the process of bhakti. So I'm going to explain this rather quickly. If you think I'm going too fast through it, you are correct. So if you want to go more into depth, you'll need to take it up outside this seminar and go into further study. The first step in meditation is hearing. It's hearing. Why? Because we don't meditate on something we've just made up. We meditate on what we have heard. All of our meditation in bhakti begins from what we hear. But we should be hearing as a first step in meditation. We should be hearing meditatively. I just got a wonderful, wonderful email today where a devotee was writing how she was reading the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and as she was reading certain pastimes particularly, she really felt like she was there, or at least that she wanted to be there. And she was hearing the pastimes in a way that was particularly meditative. Second stage is accepting. This is where we start to internalize what we hear. We really start to accept it. It starts to become part of us. That we're not just hearing something as oh, that's an interesting thing. But our emotions and our desires start to be involved. The third stage is remembering. So this is what people commonly think of as meditation, although this is the third stage. At this point, a person may have an intuitive but not yet fully realized idea of their eternal form and service. Srila Prabhupada calls this stage chanting in ecstasy. Now, we should note very carefully that these first 3 stages are still on the platform of the mind. I find that many times devotees are hesitant to engage their mind in meditation, which is very interesting since Krishna says twice in the Bhagavad Gita, Man Manah Bhava Mad Bhakto. He says it right at the end of the 9th chapter, and again practically at the very end of Bhagavad Gita. So anything that's important, a teacher is going to repeat, and especially repeat at the end. So this idea, man mana, one should think of me with your mind, and maya shakta mana partha. So definitely we use the mind. And if you want to explore this further, I would also like to refer you to Bhagavatam 3:28-34. And I see we're reading 3:28 here in Melbourne, so we're going to be coming to this verse within the next month or so. So 3:28-34. This is where in the purport, Prabhupada says, in the beginning, the mind is employed in attracting the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All right, so this third stage, remembering on the platform of the mind, has 5 subparts. So third stage, part 1, is interrupted remembrance. You remember what you've heard, you remember what you've read, and then your mind goes to something else. Then you remember something and your mind goes to something else. You remember, your mind goes to something else. Third stage, part 2, uninterrupted. Now, our mind is very good, naturally, at uninterrupted thinking or flowing thinking. You know how we will think of something, and then that thing we've thought of leads us to something else, and that leads us to something else, that leads us to something else, right? Our minds are actually quite good at this. So when this is happening in relationship to Krishna, if you start thinking, oh, Krishna danced on Kaliya, and his lotus feet, the beauty of his lotus feet were defeating the jewels on Kaliya's heads. Ah, Krishna's lotus feet go through the forest of Vrindavan. And the residents of Vrindavan are worried about Krishna's feet. The gopis are worried that Krishna's going to prick his feet. And Madhya Yasoda is worrying about whether or not Krishna's wearing shoes. Right? And then Krishna says, well, my cows don't wear shoes. And Krishna milks the cows every morning. And you naturally flow from one thing about Krishna to another. Third stage, part 3, that uninterrupted flow becomes concentrated. Just like some of you are sitting in the class, but you're doing something else. You're not just listening to the class. So that's not concentrated hearing. You're splayed. So this third stage of remembrance, before that, you may be uninterrupted, but it's not fully focused. So now it's both uninterrupted and fully focused. And here we're referencing again that same verse, 3:28-34. This is the verse itself. The mind is used as a means to attract the Lord as one attracts a fish to a hook. Then, third stage, part 4. This is expanded. This is one's meditation starts to flow out of one's japa and gayatri time into the rest of one's day. Third stage, part 5. Samadhi on the platform of the mind, again referencing 3:28-34. Prabhupada said, when the mind forcibly is engaged upon the form of the Lord, this is called nirbija yoga or lifeless yoga, for the yogi does not automatically engage in the personal service of the Lord. In other words, up to this third stage, it's still on the platform of a sadhana. Through this third stage, it's still on the platform of a sadhana, although in third stage, part 5, we have samadhi. In fourth stage, we have a spiritual samadhi. At this point, this is not that mental samadhi attracts spiritual samadhi. I mean, it is that mental samadhi, attracts spiritual samadhi. It doesn't turn into it. It's not that one's mental samadhi becomes spiritual samadhi, it attracts it. Something like, if you're always thinking about me, I might want to come and visit you. Jiva Goswami says, the Lord enters our consciousness through the path of our meditation. So because of this mental samadhi, Krishna becomes interested, and then we have spiritual samadhi, where one's eternal form, one's eternal service are gradually revealed. At this point, one has what Prabhupada calls spiritual television. So the pastimes of the Lord are manifesting in the heart. And one is living in this world, but one's consciousness is now fully absorbed in the spiritual world. And again, going back to that purport, in the beginning, the mind is employed in attracting the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but in the higher stages, there is no question of using the mind. When one is constantly thinking of the Lord, that is called living yoga. So we go through these stages first with the mind, then spiritual samadhi. The fifth stage is perfection, when Krishna comes out of the heart and you see him face to face. So this reminds us of the story of Dhruva, that the form of the Lord, which was brilliant like lightning, and in which Dhruva, in his mature yogic process, was fully absorbed in meditation, all of a sudden disappeared. Thus Dhruva was perturbed and his meditation broke. But when he opened his eyes, he saw before him the same form of the Lord whom he had seen in his heart in meditation. So far I've been giving you the analogies of Raghunatha Goswami and Bhaktivedanta Thakur. Now I'd like to give you my own analogies for the stages of meditation. I hope you like them. So first stage of meditation is hearing. This is like you take your milk and you put it in a pot. Second stage of meditation, accepting what you hear. That's like you put a fire under your pot. Third stage of meditation, remembering. That's like your milk starts to boil. Third stage, part 1, interrupted remembering. You stir your milk, you cut up the vegetables, you stir your milk, you start the beans, you stir your milk, you answer the phone. He didn't like the interrupted stage of meditation. All right, meditation part 2, uninterrupted. This is like you're stirring your milk constantly. Third stage, part 3, both uninterrupted and concentrated. Now your milk's gotten thick. Third stage, part 4, expanded. Now your milk starts to expand like your meditation goes out of your meditation time into your day. Third stage, part 5, Samadhi of the mind. Your milk is fully cooked, but it's on the platform of the mind. Fourth stage, spiritual Samadhi. Again, mental Samadhi does not become spiritual Samadhi, it attracts it. So here you also see cooked milk, but it looks like it has sugar in it. Fifth stage, burfi. That's when you see Krishna face to face. Hearing divine pastimes at Govardhan, offering obeisances at Govardhan. Every day, Bhaktivedanta Thakur says, we should bathe Govardhan with these 5 nectars. Oh gosh, it's so late. I forgot. What are the 5 nectars again? Can you help me? Worship, glorification, meditation, hearing divine pastimes, offering obeisances. Every day. So how many of you worship the Lord every day? How many of you glorify the Lord every day? How many of you meditate on the Lord every day? How many of you hear divine pastimes every day? That's the easiest one. You just need one of those smartphones, and just put Krishna's Leela on it and turn it on once a day. How many of you offer obeisances every day? Okay, so Raghunatha Goswami says that we should do these every day as if we're drinking nectar. So I'd like us, if we can think about some other metaphors. Sorry, those of you who hated grammar. So he said we should drink these 5 nectars every day. Can anyone give me some other verbs and objects of verbs that would talk about how we can do this with relish? What other verbs and object of verbs could we put here? That we're doing these with relish and excitement and not just mechanically. Okay, we can do it like we're singing 5 what? You do these 5 things every day as if you were singing 5 of your favorite songs, okay? Or tunes. What else? Bathing in 5 what? In 5 what? What did you say? 5 different. What? Rivers. Well, let's make it holy rivers. Someone in Mayapur said, do it like you're cleaning 5 places. I mean, I like to clean, but not that much. Someone said, hear Krishna's pastimes like you're cleaning the toilets. Didn't make it for me at all. I'm like, well, you really have an ecstatic mood about your cleaning guru. So what are some other ideas here? What? Reading? But that's one of the 5 nectars. Oh, eating! As if you're crying for your 5 mothers. As if you're eating what? 5 subjis. 5 sweets, that's a little better. Okay, what else could it be?
Offering.
Offering is such a devotee. Offering what? 5 what?
Smelling, the 5 favorite fragrance.
Oh, smelling 5 favorite flowers, right? Or incense, or etc. Any other ideas? Yes.
Walking on 5 different paths.
Ooh. Nobody ever suggested that before. Because I like to walk. Anybody else? Huh? Driving. That doesn't make it for me, sorry. I'm going to hear divine pastimes as if I'm driving. I don't know. When I offer obeisances, I'm going to think, yes, this is just like driving. I don't know. That doesn't do it for me. Maybe if you really like to drive. Yeah?
Adding 5 exotic spices.
5 exotic spices. I think we'll just put that in the eating preparations. 1. Some people have suggested, yes.
Dancing 5 different, I guess,
Styles. Huh? Well, if any of you ever go to New Vraj Dham in Hungary for a festival, they definitely do this. They have all coordinated dancing for the deities and 5 different styles. Some people have suggested meeting 5 friends. The point is that we should do these things every day with joy. We should do these things every day with joy, not ritualistically. Okay. And also in this verse, Raghunatha Goswami tells us that we should be worshiping Govardhan according to the rules. And this is a photograph, actual photograph of Raghunatha Goswami's own Govardhan Shila. And this is our painting. Bhaktivedanta says that Lord Chaitanya, who is the moon in the sky-like heart of the devotees, personally gave his Govardhan Shila to Raghunatha Goswami. And we took a part of this painting and made it the cover for our book, although one devotee asked me if that was a piece of chocolate. I said, sure, that's what we're going to put on the cover of a spiritual book. So you can turn the lights back on. So here particularly, we're going to now meditate on Govardhan. Why is he telling us to worship Govardhan? At Govardhan, Radha and Krishna are there with their associates. So we're going to just do a very brief meditation on Govardhan from Jiva Goswami's Gopal Champu. Those of you familiar with deity worship, you're familiar with these 16 items of deity worship, and then there's also up to 64 items of deity worship. I think here Jiva Goswami is mentioning about 25 different items that Govardhan offers to Krishna. He says, with many charming jewel boulders, the mountain named Govardhan offers a sitting place for Lord Krishna. With the cooing of many birds, Govardhan offers Lord Krishna a welcome. With its swiftly flowing streams filled with lotus flowers, durva grass, and chamaka seeds, Govardhan offers foot wash. With limitless new shoots of darba grass growing by deer hoofprint puddles, Govardhan offers arghya or hand wash. With ponds where jati, lavanga, and kakola grow on the shores, Govardhan offers achman. With fresh yogurt, ghee, and honey, Govardhan offers Madhuparka. With water from a clear spring at its summit, Govardhan offers bathing water. With golden tree bark, fine like silk, Govardhan offers garments. With fragrant powders, sandal paste, and red and white minerals, Govardhan offers fragrant ointment. With blooms of malati vines and other vines, Govardhan offers pleasing flowers. With the dust raised by the Surabhi cow's hooves, Govardhan offers incense. With the glistening of its many jewels, Govardhan offers a glittering lamp even in the daytime. With charming gunja peacock feathers, clusters of flowers, and many other pleasing objects, Govardhan offers ornaments. With pleasing fruits and roots, Govardhan offers delicious meals. With cool, flower-scented water mixed with fragrant and pure tulsi leaves, Govardhan offers water to rinse the mouth. With champaka flowers and other glorious blooming flowers moving in the gentle breeze, Govardhan offers arati. With budding nakula flowers and other trees, Govardhan offers a graceful parasol. With blooming branches moving in the breezes from the Malaya hills, Govardhan offers the service of fanning Lord Krishna. With the dancing of the cooing peacocks, Govardhan offers a festival of dancing. When, attracted by Krishna's flute music, carried by the breeze, a gopi comes, Govardhan prepares a soft couch of flowers. With the cuckoos cooing, Govardhan makes sweet singing. Gazing at Lord Krishna and performing these services to please him, Govardhan Hill confirms his reputation as the best of the Lord's servants. So finally in this verse, Raghunatha Goswami says, if we drink these 5 nectars every day and worship Govardhan, we will get direct service to the divine couple. Bhaktivedanta explains in his commentary, this direct service happens in stages. He said, first one will serve the Lord from a distance with the assistants, then gradually serving under the guidance of the assistants, one gets closer, one serves with more intimate associates, and finally one gets the direct service of the divine couple. Now because this is the inner path of bhakti, even at this stage, one is still drinking the charanamrita, wearing tilak, wearing the garlands of the deities, and so forth. So now we have gone on this journey, and now we get our benediction. Manah-siksa Varam Attain Madhuraya Gira Gayat Yuchai Samadhi Gata Sarvatayatiya Sayuta Shri Rupanuga Iha Bhavan Gokulavane Jano Radha Krishna Tula Bhajana Ratnam Salabate. Becoming a follower of Sri Rupa and his companions, one who with a sweet voice loudly recites these 11 supreme verses which give instructions to the mind and strives to understand all their meanings completely, obtains the incomparable jewel of worshipping Sri Sri Radha Krishna in the forest of Gokula. So we turn off the light for a minute. This is our painting for the last verse. This is a leaf book like Raghunatha Goswami would have written upon. This is the 12th verse. And these are Krishna's jewels. You know, Krishna likes to wear dolphin or shark or makara earrings. So turn it back on. Turn the light back on. So again, for the third time in Manah-siksa, Raghunatha Das Goswami tells us to follow Rupa Goswami, who of course was given instruction by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and wrote many books like Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and Upadesh Amrita. Of course, we're also going to follow Raghunatha Das Goswami, who wrote this Śrīmad Bhāgavatam on the bank of Radhakund. Now, in Bhaktivedanta Bengali prose commentary, he always gave a Bengali translation of Raghunatha Das Goswami's Sanskrit verses. In this particular commentary, he gave two different translations, one in prose and one in poetry. In the prose translation, he said, if you sing these verses in the forest of Gokula, you will attain the service of Radha Krishna. And in his poetry translation, he says, if you chant these verses, assuming anywhere, you will attain Radha Krishna, who are in Gokula. And Bhaktivedanta then quotes many verses glorifying the whole land of Mathura Mandala, all of the pastimes that happen there. And in one of the verses, he says that Radharani has a special pride about Vrindavan, and that pride is that this forest is mine. This is the end of the splendid instructions to the mind by Raghunatha Das Goswami with commentary by Bhaktivedanta Thakur. Raghunatha Das Goswami ki, Bhaktivedanta Thakur ki. And of course, we would know nothing about the Acharyas without the grace of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.